Today on Living Local Carolina, we're here at the Gullah Museum, and I am standing here with Janet. She is one of the museum managers. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. We're happy to include you in our Black History specials, special segments that we want to do honoring Black History Month. So tell us about the Gullah Museum.
Well, here at the Gullah Museum, it's Black History Month every day. All day, every day.
Yes.
And we are a one-room, family-run museum that's focused on the Gullah Geechee history and culture, and we like to tell people about how our people shaped America.
Oh, beautiful. And I'm loving this here. Tell me about this exhibit.
This is a blue bottle tree, and this is a tradition that came from the Congo. A lot of people, we always talk about Gullah Geechee being from West Africa, but it was West Africa and Central Africa, the two places that we're from. And this comes from the Congo, and it is a spiritual practice that was used to ward off evil.
Okay.
Because blue is the color of protection, but it's also the color of water, and our evil spirits are scared of both.
Oh, wow, wow. So there are so many beautiful exhibits in this museum. Tell us about the various exhibits here and what they represent.
Well, here we specialize in something that my late mother, Vermel Bunny Smith Rodriguez, who was a Georgetown native, called story quilts.
Okay.
So the quilt back here, that's the Michelle Obama family story quilt, because a lot of people don't realize that Michelle Obama's father's family is from Georgetown, South Carolina. So the next quilt next to that, that's the Gullah Geechee midwife quilt. That's a quilt that's a celebration of the women who delivered the babies, but also were the primary care providers for their community during enslavement and after enslavement.
Wonderful, and you have other beautiful quilts. Tell us about those.
Well, we also have the Gullah Uman quilt over here. That is the quilt that tells the story of the Gullah Geechee people. And I like to use Gullah Geechee because even though here in South Carolina we call ourselves Gullah, and in Georgia they call themselves Geechee, it's to be more inclusive of all of us.
Incredible. And then that beautiful one with the handprints, what does that one represent?
That is the Zora Neale Hurston quilt, and that is from a very famous quote from one of her books about jumping over the sun. And so my mother made that quilt as part of an exhibit back in, I think it was maybe 2013. A bunch of quilters got together, and each quilt represented something having to do with Zora Neale Hurston, who studied the Gullah Geechee people.
In this beautiful piece, this beautiful artwork, tell me about this Out of Many One People.
This is something that my parents found when they were living in Pennsylvania. And they found it in a flea market, and if you go around it, it is the artist made it in the shape of the African continent. So it's a very special piece, and we just like people to see it.
And so you were telling me the difference between the basket, well, you know, I was calling it weaving, and you said specifically it's sewing.
It's a coil basket, and so in this type of basket making, the basket sewers, as I've learned, take a long piece of palmetto palm. And you'll see them while they're working, they'll be doing this motion.
Pulling it through.
Yeah, so that piece of palmetto palm is the thread.
Great. Well, Janet, this was absolutely awesome. Thank you for being a part of our Black History Moments on Living Local Carolina.
Well, thank you for thinking of us and stopping by.
Yes, of course.